Alright, welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. It's such a tongue twister. Well, it's not, it's just long. Last time we left off having found a new home in the attic of Baker Street 221B. Is that correct? I believe so. The house of Herlock and his roommate, whose name I forgot. So, let's see where that leads us. If I switch, it doesn't pick up. So give me a second. Yes, why is this still active? I forgot. No, not that. Not that either. Game capture. There we go. Specific window. Yes. That's it. And I forgot to take off the cap. Yay! I had a lazy day. I stayed in my PJs. Yes, please. Oh yeah.
It's coming! Sholmes's cry pierced through the thick wall of fog around us. Wisps of vapor flowed over the pistol as I cocked it, and I waited, breathlessly, in the stillness. The silence lasted for what seemed an eternity, until, at last, it appeared. From the shadows of the cloud, an enormous beast sprang out upon us. A hound it was, but not such a hound as any mortal has ever seen. Its eyes glowed with a smoldering glare. The whole of its ox-sized body was outlined in white-hot flames. Its rumbling pant and hideous howl, so terrified was I that I began to tremble with fear. "Look well, Wilson," Sholmes declared, gazing upon the mystical beast. "For this is the diabolical hound of the Baskervilles."
Our first 2 months in London passed by in a flash. In that disconcerting courtroom experience, we were first thrown into the day we arrived in the country, and in Soseki-san's terrible ordeal that had followed closely behind, we had emerged victorious. However, there then came an abrupt end to our opportunities to appear in court, which was hardly surprising, of course, since I was nothing more than an amateur, an unknown student of law from a faraway land, who, in his 2 courtroom appearances, won each time. But it was... What did they call it? Magic? His Asian magic? Magic? So life in our little office was very quiet. That is, until it was shattered one day by that fateful telegram. 15th of April, 9:13 a.m. Navigator's legal consultancy. Knock, knock, knock. They have a daruma? Huh? That morning, I was woken by the unreserved knocking on the door by the telegram boy. But after he'd gone, Susato-san's behavior became very obviously strange. Susato... Son? Yes? It is time to leave for court already. Is it time? Let me see. What case is it today? I don't think I'm scheduled to defend anyone at the moment, am I? Oh, no, of course not. How silly of me. And I think Iris said she would make us breakfast this morning. So shall we go down to Mr. Saunders' suite? Yes! Iris makes the most delicious breakfast food. She does, doesn't she? Once our bellies are full, we can leave for court and fight in fit form. Do you know something we don't? Let me see, what case is it today? Here we go again. Telegram. So, what was it about? The telegram that was delivered this morning, I mean. Oh, a telegram? I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry, but you're not going to get away with it. Well, I didn't think I would. Actually, don't give it a moment's thought. It's nothing interesting. Boring, in fact. Ahem. It was just a boring old telegram. That's 3 times now that she tried and failed to convince me it was not. I promise that I'll tell you about it at some point. Alright, I understand. I suppose Suzuki-san will have arrived back in Japan by now, won't he? Yes, I should think so. He left immediately after the terrible ordeal. Which would mean he would have completed the voyage already, or be just a few days away. A fortnight ago we had that very long telegram from him, do you remember? Complaining of seasickness. But by and large, it seems the voyage has been going well. Is something wrong? That heard us on. I was just wondering, what might have become of Suzuki-san had he stayed in London? That's all. You mean, as regards Lord Van Zee, the Reaper? Yes, I can't help wondering if seasickness would have healed into insignificance in that case. What is it they say? That no one who stands in the dock can be safe from the Reaper, right? Like the way that nightmarish trial ended on the very day we arrived in London. Oops. No. Even 2 months on, the cause of that dreadful fire is still a mystery. Yes, but at least Suzuki-san is safely out of the country now, presumably. That means that the curse of the Reaper can only take effect within the confines of the city of London, perhaps? Or it's just a myth, perhaps? Even if that's the case, it's little comfort. I have a terrible sense of foreboding. If the legend of the Reaper is to be believed, it would mean he wields the sword of justice himself. Come to think of it, I wonder what he's been up to these past 2 months. Surely not wielding that sword against more acquitted defendants. No, I don't think so. Apparently Lord Van Zee hasn't appeared in court once since our last encounter. Oh? Yes, since Suzuki-san's trial, he's withdrawn from judicial service again, it seems. Really? Just like before, when he wasn't seen in court at all for several years. So, it's just been me who's had to face him in his recent spate of trials. Just my luck. I wonder if luck doesn't come into... Sorry, what was that? Oh, nothing. Never mind. Okay. Do I really want to check out my own room? There's nothing here. Eh. Sholmes is sweet. Morning, Runo. Morning, Susie. Good morning, Iris. Iris? What is it, Runa? What is that terrible noise? It sounds like a cat being strangled. Ah, yes, you noticed that, did you? I am happy that I'm not wearing headphones. Pearly isn't in the best form this morning, it seems. Hello! Hello, Mr. Sholmes. Good morning. Good morning today, perhaps. Has something happened, Mr. Sholmes? You look miserable, and the way you were playing the violin before. My analytical mind is dead. Music is dead. The world is dead. Damn this planchet existence. That's all it is, my dear fellow. Nothing of consequence. I'm afraid I don't understand. He's a... Wow, I literally don't know what it means in English, but how it would be said in English, but it's a depressive phase, which basically means he has one of the down phases if you have depression, where it hits really, really hard, apparently. Well, at least it presents itself as such, but it could just be an unfortunate event that led him to be, well, down in the gutters with his motivation and feelings. Well, Iris, isn't it time we ate? Some dry toast and insipid coffee for me, if it's not too much trouble. Okay, he definitely does not have a very mild form of depression. It's probably more so he came down from his drugs. Aww. Hello, kitty. Oh, look, it's Bugger High. Good morning, boy. That must be some sort of tiny door for cats to use. But how did it get there? Well then, everyone, time for breakfast. Oh, wonderful! Let me help you, Iris. It would indeed be a fine day today. I knew something looked different. Something's missing from Mr. Sholmes' desk. You seem to be very unhappy this morning, Mr. Sholmes. What happened? It used to be in the case. That in my hand. This violin sung like the dawn chorus. Its malissonant tones would have flowers bloom. It would? But now, muses are amused with me. The goddesses of music have thrown me over. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? For hours, I have bowed, for days even. Through the night I have endeavored to no avail. That sound, my tone, is lost. That brilliant, clear, unwavering tone. gone forever. No more recitals of unbridled emotion. Well, you haven't been practicing much lately, have you, Hurley? Don't worry, I'm sure it will come back to you in time. Heed my words, Mr. Naruhodo. The goddesses of the arts are fickle. One day they bestow genius on a man, the next they unmercifully withdraw it. Oh dear. Why is this happening to me? If they take the turn I have for the violin from me, what is left? For pity's sake, what is left? Deduction? Perhaps? Isn't that what you're known for? Mr. Sholmes, I don't like to pry, but your desk looks rather empty today. Ah, well done, Mr. Sutton. Your observational skills do you credit. Oh, no, Mr. Sholmes. Pale into insignificance when compared to yours. You'd struggle not to notice, wouldn't you? You mean Hurley's great analytoscope? What's... that said Windy Bangs now. Sorry? It said Windy Bangs? No, Windy Bangs. The pawnbrokery? Pawn? What? You mean you've pawned that enormous machine of yours? It has some considerable value, you see. Quite undeservingly. But isn't it a very important machine for your work? I do wish you had consulted us if your situation had become so desperate. I should have gladly passed that what little income I have to you. What about us? Dear madame, things are far from desperate. But the pawnbroker has your wonderful machine. How can it be anything but desperate? Making use of a pawnbroker is quite ordinary here in London, I assure you. It is? It doesn't sound ordinary at all. It would seem that neither of you fully understand how pawnbroking works. Oh, what's to understand exactly? How pawnbroking works, okay. What did you mean when you said we didn't fully understand how pawnbroking works? To the people of London, pawnbrokeries are akin to banks. Banks? On Mondays, merchants relinquish their finest jackets and trappings to their pawnbroker of choice. With the money they receive in return, they are able to trade happily through the week. And then on Saturdays they go to recover their things using the money they've earned. I had no idea. This has been a fascinating lesson for us. Everyone does it, you see, especially people in inner London. And should they have money to spare, they would purchase another fine jacket. Not to wear, obviously, but to pawn, should the need arise. Oh, how ingenious. So, whenever we have something that's getting in the way, we leave it at Windy Banks, you see? A pawnbrokery can be thought of as an extremely secure vault. Who would have thought that even pawnbrokers are different here in Great Britain? Of course, you have to watch Hurley with it. Sometimes he pawns things he really shouldn't. Don't you, Hurley? What does it matter? The world is dead to me now. Alright. Oops. is burning comfortingly in the grate again today. It's a very different feeling to a Japanese hibachi somehow. Oh, look at that photographic print of a lady displayed on the mantelpiece. Could it be? Yes, it must be. It's the woman. Oh, how exciting. Is that supposed to mean something to me? What? It looks like that huge metal chest is being used as a table for tea and coffee. It seems very sturdy with an equally sturdy lock. Mr. Naruhodo, we mustn't go around opening things. I always have to keep an eye on you, don't I? You're very mischievous. How did you come to that conclusion? Alright, give me my breakfast. Hi. Mr. Natsume's cat seems to have settled in to his new home, then. Oh yes, and I've become very attached to the little Vaggy. Oh, it would appear his previous owner is completely forgotten to him. Cats are unfeeling creatures. Their meows as empty as the hearts of the muses. If Mr. Natsume had no intention of taking Waggy back to Japan, I wonder why he kept him in the first place. I expect he would have taken him if he could. But pets are strictly forbidden aboard steamships in our experience. And for good reason. Terrible things can happen if the rules of passage are not obeyed. True. But it was halfway intentional, you know? Well, I don't mind, because Waggy is adorable. Meow meow. Yes, he really is. Oh, yes, what about the door? I don't remember seeing the tiny thing in the main door before. Where did that come from? Oh, you noticed? You are observant, Bruno. Look, I use this. It's my latest invention. What is that? I call it the cat flapper map. Gosh, a machine for making doors just for cats? That's right, it can make a cat flap for a little furry friend like Waggy in seconds. And it can do it in any door at all, no matter what it's made of. It's very powerful, you see. Wouldn't it have been quicker just to make the cat flap rather than making a machine to make the cat flap? Well, yes, maybe, but now I can make cat flaps anywhere I like. Oh, I think it's wonderful. You must make one for us in the door of our office upstairs, Iris. She really knows how to come up with unconventional inventions, this girl. Hehehehe. Okay. Oh, what was that? Waga hi? What was that? Oh no! Waga is tangled up in your violin! I think he thinks it's a toy. No! What's he doing to it? Oh dear! Mr. Sholmes' precious violin. Why should I care? What? I shouldn't be surprised if the cat is a more accomplished musician than I now. Mr. Sholmes really is in poor spirits, isn't he? Well, anyway, I'll put it back where it lives, shall I, Hurley? Out of the cat's reach, if possible. Maybe we should assess the damage. Examine. B? What is... what? No? Ah, now we're talking. So, this is the violin, is it? It's Stradivarius, one of the finest violins in the world, made by the renowned Italian luthier Antonio Stradivari. Oh, I see. It doesn't really look like anything special to me. It actually doesn't have a special look, it's more the sound. And yes, okay, the wood that's used, but for the unknowing eye, it's pretty much a violin like any other. Maybe with a slightly different color. I happened upon it covered in dust, languishing in a pawn shop down a nondescript back alley. The broker had no idea of its value, so I was able to purchase it for a mere 55 shillings. How honorable of you! And until today, has been my faithful companion in every great Paganini-inspired performance I have made. I ask you, is there a reason to live in a world devoid of music, to tolerate this blanchet existence? No! There is none. Mr. Sholmes. What, dear madame, what? My thoughts are preoccupied with fancies of release from this dull routine. Well, it's about the violin. It looks very different to normal, don't you think? What do you mean, Mr. Sutter? Oh, Susie's right. Yes. The tone of the wood is completely different. And that's not all. I'm sure there was no crack here before. Wait, it's not even the right size, is it? What's this? I'm terribly sorry to have to tell you this, Mr. Sholmes, but that instrument isn't a violin at all. It's a viola. Then what? I believe it's an entirely different instrument called a viola. Hey, Erika, how you doing? What? You know, violas and violins, yes, they are different, but they're basically the same instrument. They just have different sounds. Viola is darker, I believe, has a more richer tone than the violin, but I could be wrong. I haven't heard them compared in a while. So yeah, if you're able to play Stradivari, you should still be able to play a viola, a basic viola. Tired again? You should get more sleep, darling. I'm alright. I didn't get a lot of sleep, but I'm fine-ish. I'm not too tired. My body is used to only a maximum of 5 hours of sleep, so yes, it's fine. But any less is, yeah, questionable. If my body is fine, but today it was fine. I believe I slept 6 hours even, so 1 hour less than the recommended. The perfect time to sleep, the perfect amount of sleep you should get is 7 hours a day, which I never get, but at least I get 6. And more is not very helpful and not healthy at all. What? Oh, Mr. Sharpster, you're right. You're right. You're quite right. This isn't my faithful Stradivarius. So what? Pray, is this piece of stringed floater not your faithful performing partner then? Ah, I see what you have, what must have happened. You do, Iris? This is just simple mix-up. Sounds like Iris might be able to tell us what exactly happened. If we ask her, he probably pawned off his Stradivarius, got it back, and got the wrong thing back. Do we really have to question that? She already hinted at it before. Oops. No! Don't care. Yes, yes, I know. We already talked about this. You know, there's apparently a skip option. And I, to this day, have not found it. And I have it activated. I don't know what's happening. What did you mean by mix-up, Iris? Well, you see, this violin, this viola, I mean, was at Windybank's until last week. At the pawnbroker's, not Mr. Sholmes' beloved musical partner. There is a proverb from the East, with which you are no doubt familiar, my dear fellows. Always let a beloved child travel. But not an instrument that literally costs multiple thousands to maybe millions of whatever currency. No. Even though, okay, you got it for 55 shillings, I guess. But still. What the hell, man? Use your brain, which you are apparently so known for. Yes, indeed. So, you sent your beloved violin to the pawnbrokers in the hope that it would experience personal growth? Oh, what a wonderful idea! What is happening? Last week, I pawned my great analytoscope in order to release my precious instrument, but it would appear Mr. Windybanks mistakenly furnished me with this tawdry fiddle instead. But my ears cannot be deceived by the hollow timbre of this piece of timber. No, but every sense was deceived by the fact that it just had strength. Psha! A fine state of affairs this is, and why I always say, Mr. Naruhodo, never trust a pawnbroker. They will try to fiddle you every time. But literally, this instrument has a crack in it. Shouldn't you check the thing you pawned off? Of any damages, and if you get a damaged good, which was not damaged before, shouldn't you say something about it? Realize that something might be wrong? No? Yes? Maybe? But earlier you told us that you could think of a pawnbrokery. Yeah, okay. That you could think of a pawnbrokery as an extremely secure waltz. If you know what you're doing, perhaps. Come, Mr. Naruhodo, dilly-dallying will get you nowhere. Why do I have to come with you to get your instrument back, which you mistakenly pawned off, which you then mistakenly took home the wrong instrument? Do tell. I'm interested to know. Sorry? crunching your toast with that vacant aspect, pressing your coffee so obtusely. Are you not a little embarrassed by your own conduct, considering the urgency with which we are faced? We must visit Mr. Windybank's brokery at once. That's right, isn't it, Mr. Sholmes? No, but since I had to reread some parts, it was okay. And I couldn't skip it. That was annoying. I hate rereading stuff. Like the one time where we killed ourselves. Wasn't it in the first trial or the second one? I'm not sure. No, it must have been the first one. Where we used up all 5 trials. Be in the hole to skip text. Okay. That's probably controller though, isn't it? But it doesn't matter. Where we had to reread like half an hour of text for nothing, basically. That was annoying. Well, I didn't really reread it. I just skipped through it as best as I could, but since it's not very fast in giving you the text speed is very slow as well. It was annoying, but it's okay. I just went through the menus and was like, okay, skip is enabled, and I was like, what? It's enabled where? I see nothing. Normally you get something on the screen indicating this is how you skip. And this game's like, alright, there's a skip option. There is a skip option, but I won't tell you. We must visit Mr. Windybank's brokery at once. That's right, isn't it, Mr. Sholmes? Precisely, Mr. Sato. Without a moment's delay. I thought we were supposed to have breakfast right now, Susato-san. But I haven't finished my bacon and eggs. My dear fellow, surely you do not still intend to crush your bacon with an increasingly vacant aspect, to press your egg ever more obtusely? Alright, say no more, let's go then. Don't worry, Bruno, I'll be happy to heat it up for you again later. Heated up bacon and eggs? Sounds disgusting, to be honest. Oh, thank you, Iris. As it happens, I'm rather curious to see what a British pawnbroker looks like. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get the... Is there something you want to talk about? No? Good to see a lot of it. Baker Street. Why should I go to Baker Street? Oh well. Let's see. 7. Look at all the different things in the window of this shop. Ah, that's Windybank's, the pawnbrokery. Okay, it's literally downstairs. It looks much smarter than a pawnbroker's in Japan, doesn't it? Yes, you're right. I found pawn shops at home rather inapproachable personally. It reminds me of tearfully parting with my favorite fountain pen. Felt so miserable. What doesn't kill you makes us strong. Hints to the quarry, Mr. Naruhodo. Well, it is a famous saying, so... I get it. Baker Street, 221B. It's already been 2 months since we started taking lodgings here after above Mr. Sholmes' office. Oh, that's actually beautiful. I still can't believe... Skip function in the menu that will let you click through without waiting for it to finish. The voices should be an option in the main menu as well. Might not be accessible from gameplay. The only thing I saw voices is this and there was something else. The story mode, and there was something else where you could choose the audio language between Japanese and English. I left it at English, but the Japanese one is actually better. I watched someone play a tiny bit of it. I still can't believe it. I never expected that things would turn out like this. Oh, I know. To actually be sharing accommodations with the world's greatest detective. If I ever find myself before a court of law now, I will have not one regret. I don't know what you're talking about, but I'd be happy to defend you, of course. Gameplay? Text skip is on, that's it. Oh well, it doesn't matter. I don't really need it unless I mess up again, and at the moment I'm just save spamming, so it's fine. I don't know what you're talking about, but I'd be happy to defend you, of course. Alright. Yeah. That's why I said, I know it's on. I don't know how to work it. Wait time is if you activate autoplay, how long it takes for it to show the next sentence. Winterbank's pawnbrokery. So this is a British pawnbrokery. Oh my, there are all sorts of tools and contraptions in here that I've never laid eyes on before. Ah, Susato-san, and that spark of wonder in your eyes. You can't wait to scour the shelves, can you? With no money. Perfect. I get the impression you enjoy places like this? Oh yes, I don't know why, but seeing such a lot of things I don't understand is a real thrill for me. My dear fellows, let us not forget why we are here. Oh, Mr. Sholmes! We are calling on matters of business, not pleasure. And clearly Mr. Sholmes means business, too, judging from the spark of fury in his eyes. Ah, Mr. Sholmes, sir, welcome back. Did you hear that brazen welcome? Well, yes, we are potential customers after all. We are disgruntled customers, Mr. Naruhodo, and it's time to inform Mr. Windybanks of our ire. Come, the fight is afoot. How many mails am I supposed to get today? God damn it. What? Who's job is this? Don't care. Converse. Violin. I'm sorry about that, but my nose was blocked. Naturally, you will recall this, which I retrieved from you some days ago. Yes. This second-rate fiddle is not my faithful instrument, Mr. Windybanks. The color of the wood is different, it has holes in it, it's not even the same size. A wonderful summary of our observations, Mr. Sholmes. I'm so very sorry, sir. How utterly unforgivable of me. An inexcusable mistake for pawnbroker. There's only one way to make amends. Run away? Kill yourself? I shall have to take my own life. Give us back the violin first. What you do in your own time, I don't care. But give us back the violin. I don't think that will be necessary, do you? If I may just say one thing before I hop off. Ah, yes. It was you, sir, Mr. Sholmes, who took it upon himself to remove the item the other day, I believe. Sorry. As I recall, I entered the storeroom to fetch my violin when I heard, "Ah, here it is." You did? And when I returned to controvert you, you had taken the viola and left, sir. However, there can be no doubt that the blame lies firmly at my own door for allowing you to leave. So I shall not grumble or grouse any longer. May this guilt die with me. You know, he lives 2 doors down. You could have just went to his home. You probably know that he lives there. Am I thinking too much about it? You know, I live atop an grocery store. I know everyone by name down there. They know me. They know where I live. They probably don't really know my name, but that's fine. They don't need to. But he is a literal neighbor of one of his patrons. He should know where he lives. And if he knows there was a mistake, go there, give him the viola, take the viola and give him the violin. What is so difficult about that? Ah, communication, people. Communication! May this guilt die with me, he says. No, 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 stop, my dear fellow. The fault is mine. Yeah. It will appear that the fight is over. I do humbly apologize, Mr. Windybanks. Evidently, my questionable disposition precipitated this tragedy. Well, you wouldn't be Mr. Herlock Sholmes without that questionable disposition now, would you? I do believe you may be right, sir. It's either laugh or cry, I suppose. You are, it must be said, one of my more challenging customers. I needn't remind you of the peculiar collection of items you've brought through my door in the past. Oh? Peculiar items? In the extreme, ma'am, for example. The unpublished manuscript of an eponymous work, the novel of Herlock Sholmes or some such. Oh my, a new full-fledged novel? And unpublished? A story I've yet to read, you mean? Ah, forgive me. Wait, before you die, you must tell me more. Why? I must know more. Tell me everything. Wow, Sister Sun is really fired up now. Really an unpublished story under this very roof? Well, one day the gentleman here brought it in an old metal chest, you see. I should like to entrust this to your care for a while, Mr. Windybanks. For a chest like that, 1 shilling, sir. Not a farthing more. It houses something of very great value indeed. The latest manuscript recounting the adventures of one Mr. Herlock Sholmes. I beg your pardon? A manuscript? You wish to deposit a manuscript? Indeed I do, for I am confident it will be quite safe here. And that was that. As such, Mr. Sholmes' latest tale of otherworldly mystery lies dormant in my storeroom. Mr. Sholmes, is that really true? Do I sense that someone doesn't want to talk about this? I continue to pay your fee, do I not? Then kindly continue to store my belongings securely. Of course, sir, of course. They are safe and sound with me, I assure you. On my life. If you're dead, you can't protect anything. But okay, on your life, my dude. This is all very strange. I wonder, could I ask you something? Ah, a gentleman from the east, I see. Yes, that sable suit. I suppose I could offer you 6 pence for it. Without wishing to offend, the tone is somewhat dull. Sorry? But if your splendid attire, ma'am, 5 guineas, no less. The colors are exquisite, the design exotic, Eastern artistry at its finest, may I say. Oh my, 5 guineas, you say? How interesting. Why do I feel as though I've suffered some sort of defeat there? Actually, I was hoping to ask you about your business. I've heard it said that pawnbrokeries are used rather like banks here in London. Yes, sir, indeed. Many of my customers utilize the establishment as you describe. I appraise the items and offer them a proportionate loan and 2 months of secure stowaway. If, in that time, they repay the original sum to me plus the accrued interest, the items are happily returned. But what happens if they don't pay you the money? Then the items are offered for sale in my shop, as you can see on the shelves behind me. So you never sell items before the 2 months has passed then? That's right, ma'am, that's right, which means some considerable responsibility rests on my shoulders. Should a customer's precious belongings be lost, the only recompense is for me to end it all. The very idea, Mr. Windibangs, is an absurdity. One should never talk of one's surmise so casually. You readily accepted it before, you know? Says the man who was telling us all it was a good day to die only this morning, and that as well. And let us not forget that I have already helped you take measures to ensure such a tragedy never occurs. Oh, what sort of measures? I engineered a simple device which Mr. Windibangs has installed here in his shop. I call it the red-handed recorder. Is that not so, Mr. Windibangs? So, Mr. Windibangs is about to die? Or the one that is going to be proclaimed a murderer? One of the two. What was that deep sigh about? What on earth is a red-handed recorder? Use your eyes, my dear fellow. There are 2 just below the ceiling. I can't see what appears to be a camera attached to some sort of timing device. Ah, that thing? I don't see that kind of camera, I just see that... this. But below the ceiling. Am I blind? Apparently so. Very astute. It is indeed a camera furnished with some 100 pieces of celluloid film, and every 30 minutes precisely the camera automatically records the appearance of the shop. Every 30 minutes? Okay. Here, I have an example I can show you. 4 AM. And yes, a print from the camera set to record the activity at the shop counter. I developed a special type of film so sensitive it produces a crystal clear image even in darkness. Really? That's extraordinary. Yes, you can clearly see the counter and the door behind it. Look. Wow. So you see, were someone to enter the premises with ill intent, his identity would be summarily exposed. It's actually better quality than most of the store cameras I've seen. But okay, we'll see it in action soon enough. But did you not say that the photographic print here were taken at 30-minute intervals? Indeed, as you say, my dear madame. Then what if the incident were to occur in between times? One could only say that would be a cruel twist of fate. I must confess, your devices have been giving me some cause for distress of late. I beg your pardon, Mr. Windybank. Surely they are anything but distressing. Reassuring is the word. It's the cost of the film, sir. You most graciously placed not one, but 2 cameras in my shop after all, which means I must pay for nigh on 100 utterly useless prints every single day. I'm afraid the cost of the film will break me before I'm very much older. Nevertheless, a small price to pay to ensure the safety of my preferred pawnbroker, you know? My dear fellows, we verge on an age where safety and security come at a price, but if you want your shop secure, shouldn't you pay him a fee so he can safely do his pawnbroker business with your cameras and get film for a bit cheaper? And if you are the one that developed that film, shouldn't you be the one that gives it out for basically free? Or did I miss something? Some detail? Probably. Oh, heaven help us. Poor dude. Now then, Mr. Sholmes, allow me to return your precious violin. Ah, the very thing. Thank you, Mr. Windybank. Perhaps this might mark the end of the peculiar items you try to pop, huh? But a violin is a very good pawn item, is it not? It's easy to sell off. If it's a run-of-the-mill violin, sure, you don't get a lot, but still better than nothing. Yes, it takes away some space, quite a lot actually. In this is already quite full shop, but I would believe that a violin would be bored very quickly. But I could be wrong. Mostly depends on the area you're in, probably. Because if anything were to happen to one of them, this would be the only answer. Oh. He reminds me of someone I met online a few years ago. Couple years ago now. About 10-ish, maybe more. God damn it, I'm so old. I feel so old. Only 3 years left and I have hit the 30s. Who basically every time we talked was talking about committing suicide, how he would do it, when he would do it, and who should be the one to find him. Should probably put a trigger warning. Sorry, but it was, at first you're very concerned because hey, you don't know what's going on in his life, if he would actually do it, and what to do about it. I was the whole time was thinking, okay, if I don't hear back from him, should I call the police? I don't know where he lives, but they could probably find out his IP address and find his apartment from there. How should I go about this? Should I say, hey, I've talked to this guy for a couple months now and he was telling me about how he was willing and trying to commit suicide, and I haven't heard from him in a few weeks now, so I'm worried. Could you maybe check it out if he's not already found? And since he was underage as well, living at home, I would presume that someone would find him really quickly. So yeah, just thinking about it, I was 14 at the time. That's such a heavy thing to put on someone in a random conversation, basically. We didn't know each other personally. We knew each other through a game, I believe. And that's about it. We knew our names, how old we are. And where in Germany we roughly live. That's it. That's all we knew about each other. And then he was like, alright, I'm gonna kill myself. I'm gonna shoot myself. I got the gun already. I'm ready to do it. Stuff like that. Like, oh, what the fuck? Okay, Mr. Windybanks. I really think you ought to stop waving that gun around. Someone could get hurt. Fear not. Sorry. I've only loaded a single bullet, so no one but myself could possibly be harmed. You do know that the bullets can travel through your head and hit someone else if they're in the trajectory of that bullet. So you can hurt more people than just yourself. That's not really what I meant. Good day to you then, Mr. Windybanks. It's been a pleasure as always, Mr. Sholmes. So, Mr. Netherhood. Now we can explore at last. I thought you wanted to go eat breakfast. Oops. What an assortment of things there are on these shelves here. Crockery, footwear, clocks and watches. Almost anything you care to imagine. Those are forfeited items offered for sale by the pawnbroker. What does that really mean, though? When you pawn, or colloquially pop, an item, the broker loans you money against its worth. He stores the item for an agreed period of time, after which the loan must be repaid. If not, he is free to display it in his shop for sale at a price of his choosing. Yes, now you've explained it. I'm noticing little price tags on everything. Of course, simply by paying the agreed interest on the loan, one can extend the period of safekeeping. So you may pawn that black garb of yours without fear, my dear fellow. My treasured university uniform? Never. It embodies my student spirit. That's it? About. There seems to be a little door hidden behind that curtain there. That leads to the storage room, where Mr. Windybanks keeps articles that are currently in pawn. Ah, I see. There's nothing of particular interest inside. I certainly wouldn't recommend any larcenous activities. Recommended or not, it's not something I tend to do. There is but one key, and Mr. Windybanks keeps it in his pocket at all times. Before he sleeps, he places it into a small pot, which he slides under his pillow. How on earth do you know about that, Mr. Sholmes? I am a detective, sir. It is my business to know what others do not. I am frequently assailed by information that I neither care for nor wish to retain. Yeah, you probably shouldn't know stuff like that. Mr. Sholmes, you are a wonder. If you say so. And the prime suspect of this pawnbrokery is ever... Oh god, yes. Look at that enormous ledger open on the counter there. Mr. Windybanks is, if not nothing else, very particular about recording the items he accepts. He'd have to be, otherwise he'd get himself into all sorts of trouble. Which might explain the things that catches my eye far more than the ledger. This revolver here. Do not entertain even a single thought of pilfering on an article here, my dear fellow. Huh? I assure you, Mr. Windybanks would not hesitate to draw that weapon with a speed belying his portly size. Oh, you don't mean he'd blow his brains out? Indeed, in recompense for his blunder. Oh my. But in any case, of course we would never do such a thing. How could you even suggest it? Okay, that's it. Oh, oops. Look at this. What could this lovely big shiny box be? It's a clock. That, my dear madame, is a music box. What? Okay, surely you have such things in your own country? Oh my, yes, but I've certainly never seen one so large before. Shall we listen a while? Ah, what a sublime sound. It's like the music of angels. Never heard anything like it before in my life. This particular specimen is of the larger variety, commonly found in public houses and restaurants. There is a metal disc inside, on which the notes to be played are recorded. Simply by replacing the disc with another, any music you care to imagine can be played. My goodness, what a simply delightful machine. Indeed, though their popularity has waned recently with the development of the gramophone, of course. Science and the technology advance at such an overwhelming pace. Now, what do you suppose this rather enormous machine does? It seems to have two little windows for looking through. Allow me to enlighten you, my dear fellows. What you are looking at is a stereoscope. A stereoscope? Fascinating. It is aptly named, I assure you, though look through the eyepiece and see for yourself. Oh, I should be delighted to. Excuse me a moment while I just have a look. Just before you do, there's something I should point out. My dear fellows, in order to see the image properly, stereoscopically as it were, you will need to be cross-eyed. However, if that is beyond you, it is of little consequence today. Alright then, I'm going to try it. Mr. Naruhodo, you must see at once. Oh, alright then. So I need to be cross-eyed, like I'm trying to look at my own nose. What the? I don't believe it. It's just a photographic print, but it seems like you could reach out and touch it. Yes, the sense of depth is startling, is it not? Stereoscopes are one of London's many fads. They are often found in little stalls in the park. People queue for hours to see them. Why? Why are people meddling with such black magic? It is not magic, my dear madame. It is, well, far too complicated to explain at present. We shall save this lesson for another day. Thanks. Oh. That's not a calendar you could easily miss, is it? 15th of April, today's date. Yes, that's not for sale, I must point out. It's an Eastern Star page a day calendar. Every night at midnight I tear off the front page to reveal the following day's date. The perfect calendar for tearaway fellows such as yourself, Mr. Bundybanks. And who was it who walked out of here with the wrong violin before? Well, when the agreed storage period has passed without repayment, articles are forfeited, you see. So I have to keep a close eye on the date. It's something of a pawnbroker's obsession, you might say. Oh, yes, I can see you're very dedicated to your job. Alright, I believe that's it then. No. Look at this! Whatever could it be used for? I have no idea. Ah! There's a small catch just here, look. We're going to open it, aren't we? Oh my, that's amazing! It has some sort of spring-loaded mechanism, which we'll never manage to put back to the way it was before. What are you two doing? What? Us? Nothing. No, nothing at all. Whatever this device is, it seems to have a pair of little windows to look through. I feel as though I've seen something rather similar to this elsewhere. What? Only tuppence for it? That ain't fair, and you know it. The article is barely worth a penny, miss. I cannot offer more. Sounds like there's an argument brewing over by the counter. Come on, that can't be right. Have you even had a proper butcher's at it? I've seen all I need to see, young girl. It's her again? Wait, don't we know? I'm sure I recognize her. Oh yes, the young lady from Mr. McGilded's trial 2 months ago. Her name is Gina Lestrade, my lord. She's a chancer, earns her crust among large crowds, relieving people of their purses. What's commonly called a pickpocket. Gordon Bennett, you lot. Hello, Miss Lestrade. I hope you've been well. What? You remember me then, do ya? Well, I remember being completely surrounded by smoke, that's for sure. So, what are you doing in here? Down and out, like the rest of us? Nothing to eat? Come to pop that black weasel, sorry, goat, have ya? What is it about this black uniform that makes everyone comment on it? Ah, good day, unless I'm much mistaken. You would be the young pickpocket who stole our experimental smoke grenade launcher. Ah, Mr. Sholmes. So, you have something of value to pawn, do you? Allow me to see your article and I shall negotiate with Mr. Windibanks on your behalf. Ah. Or the other one, I don't need to no help from someone stuck up there. Get out of my business. Go on or I'll make trouble for you. As you wish, Miss Lestrade. I will happily remove myself from your presence. He's really done it. He's gone. I'm sorry, but as I said, there really is no room for negotiations here. What is that thing he has in his hand? Some kind of metal disc. And you, go on and leave me alone. Oh, Miss Lestrade, just pretend we aren't here. We shan't be offended in the slightest. Mrs. Utterson can really stand her ground when she wants to. Whatever. Somehow I didn't really think you were the sort of person who'd use a pawnbroker, Miss Lestrade. Yeah, well I am, alright. I'm a Londoner, just like everyone else. That's a problem, is it? No, not at all. It's just that, well... Oh, I get it. I know what you're thinking. That thing probably don't even belong to her. You probably got it on the dive, didn't you? Yeah, I can see it written all over your Chevy Chase. Well, I might have been thinking something along those lines, yes. You're not going to deny it, Mr. Naruhodo? Alright, then I'm just going to come out and ask you straight. Do you pawn things that you steal from other people? Well, I don't know how best to answer that, really. Suppose, sometimes. You're not going to deny it either, Miss Lestrade? But not this time, alright? I swear that thing belongs to me. the disc that Mr. Windybanks is holding. Perhaps we should see what he has to say about all this. Alright. Look at Mr. Windybanks watching diligently over his shop. There are still so many things I'm curious about. I don't believe this is a time for browsing, Mr. Naruhodo. We should probably see whether that argument's been resolved yet, I suppose. Eh? Okay. Miss Lestrade's disc. Mr. Windybank, what exactly is this metal disc that Miss Lestrade has brought in? It seems to have hundreds of tiny little bumps on its surface. Ah, this is a music disc, you see, for use inside a music box. In a music box? What? You don't even know what a music box is? You Eastern lot ain't too savvy, eh? I know what a music box is. I've just never seen one of these discs before. The small protrusions on the metal disc encode the tune to be played by the music box. You simply insert the disc and set the machine going, and beautiful music plays. It's so incredible. Tell us, what tune is on this disc? Well, I'm afraid I couldn't tell you that. There are so many different types of music box, you see, British-made, German, Swiss. I have no way of knowing which particular machine this disc was made for. Ah, I see. And that's it in a nutshell. I wouldn't have any customers for an item like this, even if the young lady forfeited it. Really, I'm already offering more than I should at a penny. It's a packet or lies. He told me it did. He said it was, well... Ooh. Never mind. It just ain't right, that's all. That disc's worth good money, I know it is. Well then, you'll have to try your luck at another pawnbroker's, won't you? Ah. She's been in before, of course, this little Tatterdemalion? I see. And brought some dubious articles or other with her every single time, I might add. Dubious? What are you trying to say? I'm an honest customer, me. So, is there something dubious about the disc she brought in today? Well, if only it were that simple. Sorry, what do you mean? What she actually brought in was a storage ticket. A storage ticket. So, Miss Lestrade has actually come to redeem an article from you today, is that right? Yeah, that's right. A girl like me has a lot of stuff what needs stored and... Alright, yes, that's definitely dubious. The article in question would have been forfeited at midnight tonight, but as she gave me the ticket for it, I repaid both the loan and the interest. I was obliged to return the article to her. But what was the article? Do tell us, Mr. Windybank. The little scum was wearing it. It's the overcoat that she redeemed. Oh. What? What's wrong with that? It fits, don't it? I mean, it's mine, so of course it does. So, what about the disc then? How does that come into all this? Ah, the disc is something else. A new article to pawn if the girl and I can agree on price. I'm confused. I thought you said that Miss Lestrade brought in a storage ticket today. It's really quite simple. Yes, the child brought me a storage ticket and the money owned on it, as you say, for this heavy black coat which you returned to her care, as I'd understood it. That's right, yes, and rather unsurprisingly, as soon as the little ragamuffin put the thing on, she went rifling through the pockets. Oh, you mean... What? Don't you know it's rude to stare at a lady? Ah, I see. So it came from the pocket of the overcoat, did it? If you mean this disc, then yes. Exactly, Mum. And she immediately tried to pawn it for quite a high price as well. This is all rather suspicious, I think. Give it up. I'm just trying to pawn something like anyone else would. Ah, so... Mac... What's his face? The third episode guy. He gave this disc to her as payment and told her this disc is worth a lot. And she believed it. Miss Lestrade, may I ask you who deposited the overcoat here in the first place? Well, me. It doesn't really appear to be your size. Me old man. It's me old man, ain't it? Is it, Miss Lestrade? Yes, this is definitely all rather suspicious. Out of my way, please. Who is you? Who's this picture postcard English gentleman? Good day to you, ladies, gentlemen. What's your problem, eh? There is no problem, as long as you remove yourself. I've a matter to discuss with the proprietor. And if you intend to make a problem of it, I shall see you outside, little girl, for the hiding you deserve. Look, ain't it obvious? I ain't done talking with him yet. If you think you're such a gent, you should know how to wait in line. Well, you are an impudent little prat, aren't you? As well as a pickpocket. Yeah? Who are you? How do you know who I am? The question is, how do you not know who I am? You haven't the courtesy even to remember the face of your victims, I'd say. What? You mean I from you? Broker. Yes, sir? I believe this filthy pocket thief has just redeemed an article from you? No? Yes, the article in question belongs to me. I demand for it to be returned at once. Oh my! Now that's a lie. What are you trying to pull? Give me back my overcoat, you wastrel, and needless to say, any music box discs too. No, you can't have it. You just can't. It's me, old man's. Or it was. Now it's mine. Goodness, Mr. Naruhodo. This is a very awkward situation. Yes? I think perhaps we should hear both sides of the story in a little more detail. The gentleman's accusation. Miss Lestrade, is what the gentleman is saying what you think? It's all lies, ain't it? Obviously. I swear on my life, I ain't never laid eyes on that dandy before. Let's hear it now, you little ragamuffin. You stole it, didn't you? That ticket you brought in here just now? No, I swear it. I swear it to God. It was barely an hour ago. I was walking along the street minding my own business when this little gutling ran into me. I knew at once what had happened. I've been robbed yet again, I thought to myself, those wretched pickpockets. Yet again. Oh yes, as you can see, I am a man of impeccable style. This isn't the first time that I've been targeted by these backslum scoundrels. Now then, relinquish your overcoat. Come along now, Miss Lestrade, give the good gentleman his coat back. If you're going to cause trouble, I shall have no choice but to call the police. Hold on, why does everyone think it's me? Just looking at this dandy cove, and you think I'm the dodgy one? I'm sorry, but no one's going to believe you. Well, what about evidence? Huh? Where's your evidence that I stole something there? Come on, let's see it. Oh, I have evidence, naturally. You what? Evidence that the article Miss Lestrade redeemed actually belongs to this gentleman. Of course, we need only consult with Mr. Wendybank's ledger to know the truth. We'll be able to look up the name of the person who deposited the article in the first place. Yes, brilliant. I'm very sorry, but I'm afraid that won't be possible. Oh. I never ask customers' names. That's a strict policy of mine. But why not? Well now, as you can imagine, some of my customers have circumstances to consider. A great many of them prefer to maintain their anonymity. Yes, I see. But then, how can you know if an article belongs to the person asking to redeem it? Oh, it's quite simple. Good sir, might I trouble you for the watchword associated with the article in question? Of course, it's Professor. Yes, that's right, and all the evidence we need. This gentleman is the rightful owner of the article without doubt. A watchword. Interesting. So, about these watchwords, Mr. Windybanks. As I just explained, I never ask customers' names when they deposit items with me. There are many reasons why certain customers would like to keep their activities secret. That wasn't exactly a subtle plan, said Mr. Sholmes, now was it? Great detectives have no dark secrets, none at all. Yes, well, anyway, that's why I always ask for a watchword whenever I accept a new article. In many ways, it's like the secret combination of numbers used to unlock a vault. The date of deposit, a description, and a watchword uniquely identifying each item. And of course, then I give the storage ticket to the customer. When someone comes to redeem something, I ask for the ticket and the watchword. And if that someone tells you the correct watchword, you return the article. That's right, sir, yes, just as soon as the requisite fee is paid. And I have supplied you with the information you require already. But for the avoidance of doubt, the article in question is an overcoat deposited 2 months ago on 15th of February. With the watchword of Professor. All perfectly correct information, sir. But how? Really, this is beyond a joke now. There is no further room for doubt. Could we just ask for the recordings of the day? Excuse me, but who are you? One would expect the inquirer to introduce himself first. Though clearly you are not British, so perhaps our ways are foreign to you. Oh, sorry, yes, we're from the Empire of Japan. We're studying here. Ah, yes, Japan. I've heard talk of the place. What are you doing? Its inhabitants live on some fiery brown-colored soup, dressed up with exotic spices. You might be thinking of somewhere else. And what was that theatrical gesticulation about? Perhaps. Anyway, if you are a gentleman, sir, you offer your own name first, before inquiring after the name of another. Of course, yes. I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm a lawyer. Well, student of law, really. My name is Susatomi Kotoba. I am Mr. Naruhodo's assistant. I see. My name is Benedict. Yes, Agate Benedict. Ex-Benedict? Really? Really? Okay. Enchanté. He's so refined in how he holds himself and how he speaks, but the name is suspicious, to say the least, yes. Now, to the matter at hand. My overcoat. Return it at once to someone with the style to carry it off. Every move he makes, every breath he takes. Now I feel even older. Why do I have to remember that song now? Now I wanna... It's gonna get claimed anyway, so let's listen. Let's give it a listen. Every move he makes, every breath he takes. But damn it, how... What was that name? Every move he makes... Will you find it? Or do I have to Google it? Every breath he takes, every move he makes. Nya, 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 nya. Nya, 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 nya. Can't remember. Too lazy. Okay. So, let that be an end to the matter. And thank you for your custom, Mr. Agate Benedict, sir. With such reasonable rates of interest, I may even decide to come back. This is why I hate grown-ups. Just because I'm a diver, everyone thinks that makes me a liar. And the con contents of the coat pockets, if you please, broker. But of course, here is the disc for you. Just this one. Pardon, sir? I was expecting another, that is, I deposited another disc. Oh dear. I regret to inform you, sir, that what was deposited with me was merely the overcoat. The disc happened to be in one of the pockets, but I was completely unaware of it until now. So, Gutterling, you're hiding more of that what's rightfully mine, are you? Says who? I don't know nothing about it. Very well. And I shall bid you farewell. Say goodbye to style. Wait a minute. The disc is mine. Ah, what do you think you're doing, you little tramp? You've drawn blood, you filthy animal. Oh my, yes, there's blood on the disc. Because of all those sharp little bumps, the man must have scratched his finger on them. I found it first, all right? I mean, it belonged to me, old man. So, you're not having it. Oi, you take it. Me? If I hang on to it, they'll have it off me again, so you keep all of it. Mr. Lestrade, why is this disc so important to her? The music box disc has been entered into the court record. You there, in the black livery. Hand the disc to me at once, please. No, don't. He's lying. Grown-ups are all liars. What do I do now? How am I going to resolve this? Just run. I literally learned nothing in this whole mess. Mr. Windybanks is clearly at a loss here. We have to do something about this before he reaches for that revolver of his. Okay. Wow, Miss Lestrade is really looking daggers at that mysterious gentleman. We need to do something to calm things down before she loses control and attacks him again. Look at Mr. Windybanks watching diligently over his shop. There are still so many things I'm curious about. Somehow I don't really feel like this is the right time to be browsing. Calming this fraught situation must be our first priority. And I'm fairly certain that we can find just the right thing we need among the articles here in the shop. Yeah, that's why I was clicking on the stupid thing. And I still don't see the camera. Nope. Not you. You. Mr. Sholmes? What are you examining with such keen interest there? As you enjoy above caramel, I see. So, you found me at last, Mr. Naruhodo. I've seen you the first time around. Sorry. After that young pickpocket sent me on my way, I was forced to lurk in the shadows, cruelly ostracized as the rest of you partook in the jovial atmosphere of the fellowship. I had nothing to occupy my mind, but was too ashamed to let society see what my downfall had done to me. So, feigning mock interest, I pretended to examine the tedious trinkets in this desolate place. Whilst, as you shrewdly observed, gnawing on the only friend I have left, this 7% solution of caramel. Pray, do you claim to understand the depth of my despair, Miss Naruto? But how could you? I was so lonely, so desperately lonely. Then why on earth didn't you rejoin the conversation? Things have gone from bad to worse here, you know? Yes, I overheard much of your conversation, or rather, in my craving for human contact, my ears devoured every word that was uttered. You really were sad, weren't you? Oh, Mr. Sholmes, I feel very awful for you. It would seem that my inference are correct. Oh, surely you're not about to tell us that you've solved the entire case once again? My dear madame, sometimes I wonder were my genius for deduction to be commoditized. Commoditized. How much could I pawn it for? It seems Mr. Sholmes has had another of his flashes of inspiration, but who knows if it will help to resolve the situation between Mr. Lestrade and the Miss Lestrade and this mysterious gentleman. What's the right thing to do here? Well, there's nothing else to do. Well, Miss Lestrade, it would appear you find yourself in something of a predicament. Where the blue blazes have you been there? Pardon? When a lady's in trouble, a true gent's supposed to be there to help. Straight away, not an hour later. Harsh. But true. Could you stop dancing, please? Oh, pray, are you? Didn't you just say that a gentleman always names himself first? Introduces himself first? Mr. Agate Benedict, you have, in my eyes, a veritably encyclopedic array of curiosities about your person. Nevertheless, there are two immovable conclusions I have drawn. I beg your pardon. The first is this. The true reason for your visit to this pawnbrokery today is something you have not yet revealed. And the second is this. A considerable crime is in contemplation, one you will orchestrate with intent to steal a vast sum of money. Well, Mr. Benedict, what say you to my deductions? How? You stood as white as a hard-boiled egg. It would seem that once again Mr. Sholmes has made a flawless deduction. Just who do you think you are, sir? Ah, yes, as I hoped. That is precisely the paint expression I was looking for. Okay. So, shall we begin? The time has come for yet another Herlock Sholmes' logic and reasoning spectacular. Yay. The great deduction. The game is afoot. Topic 1. Mystery Man's aim. First of all, we must ask ourselves on what business you ventured into this pawnbrokery today. You claim to have followed this pickpocket here, having had the redemption ticket stolen from you on the street. But that is most certainly a lie. The real truth is something quite different. as revealed by that which you hold in your hand. Yes, that brought you to the shop in the first place. Is the staff recruitment flyer. The piece of paper in your hand is a staff wanted advertisement from this very shop. Yet even the most unobservant would soon realize that a man of your appearance has no need of such employment. In other words, there is some ulterior motive for your actions. The cane, which you unwittingly clutch to your person, exhibits an incontrovertible contradiction. What utter rot! I've had this cane for years. The contradiction of which you speak is, of course, the missing ferrule. What is that? The end of any walking cane would be terminated with a metal ferrule to protect the wooden tip. And yet, detailed analysis shows the wooden tip of the stick to be utterly bare. Therefore, there's only one conclusion. The rod that you hold in your hands, which appears to be a walking cane, is in fact no cane at all. You recoil, sir. Is something wrong? And when you're recoiling, you inadvertently facilitate the answer of the next conundrum to present itself. Namely, what is the truth behind this rot you bear? Yes, your reaction betrays your truth, the truth. The handle, which you evidently would like to conceal, is the key to understanding this riddle, you see. From the moment I saw it, my suspicions were aroused. What walking cane demands such a stout handle? Mused I. But of course, as I said, this is no walking cane. No, that rot. A shovel is the broken handle of a shovel. What? Are you insane? And now, having determined this undeniable truth, the conclusion is clear. Your motive for coming here was to take employment at this establishment in order to excavate the ground beneath the premises. What a calculated crime you have conceived, sir. A wickedly calculated crime. To tunnel underneath the pawnbrokery. That's the conclusion, alright? Topic 2. Great crime. Now, Mr. Benedict, let us continue. For we must expose the details of this elaborate crime you have in the planning. This is utterly absurd. You suggest that I, a gentleman, intend to excavate the ground beneath this pawnbrokery with a broken shovel. What on earth do you propose I could expect to find there? Some long-forgotten treasure? I suppose. So for such a fanciful theory, what possible reason could I have to do as you say? Oh, but there is an ample reason, as you are only too well aware, Mr. Benedict. Ah, and your furtive glance is more telling than I could have hoped. What? Let us consider what would motivate a man to infiltrate a shop such as this and covertly dig beneath its floor. The answer is revealed by this council notice on the counter to which your eyes were inadvertently drawn. This letter gives notice of public works to be carried out in the local area. And according to the enclosed plan of the upcoming sewerage works, beneath the shop runs a sewer that joins another, one that runs under the bank on the opposite side of the road. This madness has entered the sewers now, has by excavating the ground beneath our feet, you would gain access to the waterways that flows in very close proximity to the great vault of the financial institution opposite. What are you? In summary, sir, you devised a master plan to pull off an elaborate bank robbery by dint of the underground tunnels. Master plan? Which brings us at last to the final chapter of this lurid scheme. With what blunder did the thief hope to make off from the underground vault of the bank? Are you quite serious? Having consulted with Scotland Yard some days ago, I happen to know the answer. But naturally, the answer is no secret to you, is it, Mr. Benedict? I have no idea what you're talking about. Allow me to present a rather interesting piece of evidence. You see, this picture postcard tells us all we need to know. The postcard of the Great Exhibition. I am afraid you're quite lost. You've quite lost me. Currently, in the final stages of preparation, the Great Exhibition will soon be underway, and the government has provided extra funds to complete its centerpiece, the Crystal Tower. Funds that currently sit in the vault of the bank on the other side of this road. Pardon? Yes, the considerable crime you have been contemplating is the theft of that which sits in the vault of that bank, the special reserve funds for the Great Exhibition. Of course, that is top secret police information, so keep it under your head, please. Oi. To steal the Great Exhibition's reserve funds. You just publicly announced that. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes's great deduction of this pawnbroking puzzle. Alright, let me fix that. Mr. Sholmes? Well, Mr. Naroda? An impressively upbeat deduction for a detective wrecked with loneliness. Would you not agree? Was it true that you said about the bank over the road and what it has in its vault? Indeed, though you know of its existence, it is one of the government's most closely guarded secrets. Gregson told me in the strictest confidence. But you just announced it to everyone here, rather loudly, in fact. Ah, and if it's such a big secret, how would Mr. Benedict have come to find out about it? There can be but one explanation for that. Clearly, it is because the man is a criminal. But what if he didn't know anything about the money in the vault? If he is a criminal, as you said, then buying a brand new shovel is sure to be the first thing he does now that you've revealed the secret. Oh. Or if he doesn't, maybe Mr. Windybangs will. He already has plenty of shovels here, after all. Oh my life, I assure you I'm not so unscrupulous. Huh, well, hopefully this has taught you a valuable lesson. Sensitive information must be handled with the utmost of care. Yeah, just don't tell it to Sholmes. One can never be sure that someone privy to secrets won't disclose them, and once the word is out, it's out. Perhaps I'll think twice before confiding in you next time, Mr. Sholmes. An excellent idea, Mr. Naruto, an excellent idea. Well then, Mr. Naruto, you know what to do, I'm sure. Yes. Let's listen to that great deduction again and see if we can massage it into shape. Very well then, let us start once more from the beginning. Of Herlock Sholmes' magnificent logic and reasoning spectacular. Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Mystery Man's aim. First of all, we must ask ourselves on what business you ventured into this pawnbrokery today. You claim to have followed this pickpocket here, having had the redemption ticket stolen from you on the street. But that is most certainly a lie. The truth is something quite different. As revealed by that which you hold in your hand. Yes, what brought you to this shop in the first place is the staff recruitment flyer. So by Mr. Sholmes' reasoning, Mr. Benedict came here in order to apply for a job so he could dig down through the floor. Yes, an attempt to tunnel into the sewers to gain access to the money in the vault of the bank across the road. But he wouldn't get very far with a broken shovel, would he? No, I think it's fair to say his motives lie elsewhere. The question is, where? What did Benedict bring Mr. Benedict here at this particular point in time? Oh, look at all the scribbled notes on the back of the flyer here. Don't believe it. What is it? Listen to what it says. Name, Gina Lestrade, height 5'2", green cap, scruffy waistcoat, grubby white shirt, blue sachet, red. It's a detailed description of Miss Lestrade. Goodness. There's even a sketch of her, hat and all. Although if he showed it to her, she'd fire that smoke grenade launcher in his face for sure. And look, the details of the shop have been written down here too. Windybank's Pawnbrokery, Baker Street, redemption deadline 15th of April, which is today's date. Why would Mr. Benedict have all that information scrawled on the back of that piece of paper?
Take that!
Yes, what brought you to this shop in the first place is the info about Miss Lestrade. Quite so, my dear fellow. It would appear that the writing and sketch on the reverse of the flyer pertain to the pickpocket Miss Lestrade and to Mr. Windybanks's pawnbrokery here. Ah. You originally told us that you had merely given chase after Miss Lestrade stole the redemption ticket from you. But that, sir, is a thinly veiled lie. It is the information on the back of the flyer that led you here today, by which I mean here to Windybanks's pawnbrokery, and today the redemption deadline of that overcoat. So you waited outside for the young girl matching the description you have written down to arrive. And you have gone to some lengths to hide the reason for your pursuit of Miss Lestrade. In other words, there's some ulterior motive for your actions. The cane which you unwittingly clutch to your person exhibits an incontrovertible contradiction. What utter rot! I've had this cane for years. The contradiction of which I speak of course, the missing ferrule. What's ferrule? It's a metal cap commonly found on the end of a cane, Mr. Naruto. Ah, the bit that makes the nice clacking sound on the pavement? Yes, exactly. Mr. Sholmes is right. It appears to be missing on this cane. But it doesn't actually look broken, does it? No, it doesn't. Though the gentleman certainly did recoil, Mr. Sholmes identified the cane as suspicious. In other words, there's some secret about the cane that Mr. Benedict would rather we don't know. Is it about the signature? Look here, Miss Susato. There are some letters on the handle. Ah, yes. Those must be initials, I think. In the West, it's customary for people to engrave their belongings with the first letters of their names. So, Herlock Sholmes would be HS, you mean? That's right. And the initials on this cane, obviously. Oh, AG. Why does it feel as though that's not quite right?
Take that!
The contradictions of which I speak, of course, the initialing. Ah, a most astute observation, wouldn't you say, Mr. Eggert Benedict? We are led to believe, sir, that your initials are EB. Yet in a most possessive manner, you have in your grasp a cane bearing the initials AG. An incontrovertible contradiction indeed, would you not agree? No, you're wrong. This cane isn't... You said before that you'd had that cane for years. So don't try to tell us that you just borrowed it from a friend or found it in the park. In short, though you hold yourself to be a gentleman, you have withheld your true name. You recoil, sir. Is something wrong? And in your recoiling, you inadvertently facilitate the answer of the next conundrum to present itself. Namely, what is the truth behind this rod you bear? Yes, your reaction betrays the truth. The handle which you evidently would like to conceal is the key to understand this riddle, you see. Let's consider the bare bones of what's happened here. Miss Lestrade redeemed that fine-looking overcoat. Now a mysterious man has appeared, introducing himself with a fake name and claiming that the overcoat belongs to him. But we know that he actually identified Miss Lestrade from a written description, which suggests that everything else he's told us is untrue. So what we need to do here is somehow prove that the overcoat cannot possibly belong to him. Are there initials on this overcoat? Oh, the seam on the shoulder here is coming apart, look. So it is. Do you know, a moment ago when Mr. Benedict was surprised by something that was a sap? I thought I heard him make a rather strange noise. It sounded a bit like a tiny growl. but now I think it was probably the sound of the seam ripping open. If you look closely, it does seem to be a very tight fit. The sleeves are stretched to bursting, and he wouldn't have a hope of fastening it at the front. If we were to run around in it, I'm sure the whole thing would fall apart. That I'd like to see. Sorry. So how can we make Mr. Benedict run around? She's really giving this some thought.
Take that!
The split seam, which you evidently would like to conceal, is the key to understanding this riddle, you see. Yes, because the overcoat is rather obviously a poor fit. Having forced it over your broad shoulders, the seam is already breaking apart. My suspicions were aroused from the onset. When you so badly lied about your name and so boldly waylaid this pickpocket. This catalogue of untruths has all been for one very specific purpose. To steal the article that the young girl redeemed from the Windy Bank. Aww. Well, you were sleepy to begin with. If you can take a nap, do so. I think I'm gonna end it soon anyway. After this great deduction. To steal the article... Yep. Oh. But what really irks me is this. The considerable crime I initially imagined has been considerably curtailed. Two absent with a redeemed item sold. Right, the next stupidity. Now, Mr. Benedict, let us continue. We must expose the details of this elaborate crime you have in the book lending. This is utterly absurd. You suggest that I, a gentleman, designed a wheeze to filch some tawdry article of pawnage. Have you forgotten that I redeemed the article in the proper manner using the watchword? Had I not been the one to deposit it in the first place? How could I possibly have known the relevant details, n'est-ce pas? Oh, but the watchword can be discovered. As you are only too well aware, Mr. Benedict. Ah, your furtive glance is more telling than I could have hoped. What? Let us consider how one might come to learn a secret watchword relating to the pawned property of another. It's just a few inches further to the left. The method is revealed by the council notice. The direction of the deduction must change rather dramatically now, I think. Yes, no more talk of tunneling into the sewers, which is a pity, but it all sounded rather exciting. Anyway, you can't deny that this mysterious gentleman didn't know the watchword. Yes, Professor, if you didn't know that word, Mr. Windybank would never allow you to redeem the article. Or, looking at it another way, if you did know that word, Mr. Windybank would allow you to redeem the article whether it was yours or not. So the question is, could this gentleman have found the watchword out somehow? Look at this, Miss Susato. Ah, it appears to be a memo that Mr. Windybanks has scribbled to himself. Let's see, what does it say? Oh, Professor! Mr. Windybanks must make a note of the watchwords his customers give him right before their eyes. And an alarmingly clear script as well. Oh dear, I don't know where to look. Who knows what other secrets I might see? Oh. I'll check out the cat picture. The method is revealed by the notelet on the counter to which your eyes were inadvertently drawn. Yes, the broker here follows the same procedure whenever a customer comes to redeem an article. He asks the customer for the watchword and notes down the response uttered on the notelet he has to hand. Then he consults his ledger and confirms whether or not the watchword makes that of the article and matches that of the article in question. I would expect nothing less of a diligent pawnbroker. But his diligence clearly has its disadvantages. What are you talking about? It is increasingly apparent that you were present in this shop before your accusations against Miss Lestrade. In all likelihood, you followed her inside and then observed her talking to Mr. Windybank. When the diligent broker made a note of the watchword, as is his common practice, you observed him writing the word Professor on the notelet beside the letter. And that, sir, was the master plan you devised to steal the pawned article from the young Miss Lestrade. Master plan? Which brings us at last to the final chapter of this lurid scheme. Why would you go to such lengths to redeem that particular article from this pawnbroker? Are you quite serious? An ill-fitting overcoat hardly seems to justify the effort, much less a worthless music box disc. But naturally, you had very good reason to make them yours, didn't you, Mr. Benedict? I have no idea what you're talking about. Allow me to present a rather interesting piece of evidence. You see, this picture postcard tells us all we need to know. Does it though? The articles we are talking about are the overcoat and the music box disc that was in one of the pockets, which according to Mr. Windybank isn't even worth a penny, and yet this man went to such lengths to steal them. Why? I wonder if perhaps we already have the evidence we need to explain it, Mr. Naruhodo. Could we? Really? I'd better have a thorough look through all the evidence we've collected so far. The only thing we have is this. Look at all the little bumps in the disc. They're so tiny. Yes, the protrusions are called pins and they pluck the teeth of the comb to make notes. And just on the edge, there's a small amount of blood. Yes, the blood of the mysterious Mr. Agate Benedict. When Miss Lestrade tried to give the disc, grab the disc from him, the pin scratched his fingers, it seems. Like when you're grating some daikon radish and accidentally catch your finger. Ouch! Just thinking about it hurts and puts me off eating radish. For McGilded, yes, I thought so. Oh, there's a little scrap of paper stuck onto the reverse side of the disc, look, and a scribbled word or two. It looks like somebody's name. For McGilded. McGilded? Couldn't be. But it is, Mr. Naruhodo, a name I shall never forget for as long as I live. But why? Why is his name on this? Music box disc's information has been updated on the court record. Matilda used to play music in a mechanical music box. On the reverse side is a note that reads Mr. McGilded, for McGilded.
Take that!
You see, this music box disc tells us all we need to know. What's that on the back? It reads for McGilded. Ah. Magnus McGilded, the unfortunate philanthropist who perished in curious circumstances at the Old Bailey 2 months ago. A prominent man in London, though his lone mongering demonstrated a distinct lack of scruples. So, you're an associate of his, are you? Or perhaps a subordinate? Mr. McGilded was a man of unusually small stature. In fact, he was precisely the right size for that overcoat that you've squeezed yourself into. Your true identity remains shrouded in mystery, Mr. Agate Benedict, but the final conclusion here is crystal clear. The reason you came to this pawnbrokery today was to retrieve an article left behind by the late Magnus McGilded. To acquire an item deposited by Mr. McGilded. Solved. Production complete. Elementary. Well, Mr. Magnus McGilded. Yes. Yes, he haunts us in this episode. Alright. Oof. Oh. Ouch. That was a long-winded introduction into this episode. I'm curious what will happen, who will die, if anyone does, of course. Maybe no one dies, but I kind of doubt that. And yeah. How everything is connected, I guess. We figure that out on Saturday, maybe. If not, then the next 3 days are stream free because I have work on Friday and Sunday, and on Saturday my parents come back from their vacation. But yeah, I'll see that I'll get to stream, but I don't know, they might come right when I normally stream, so I can't guarantee it. Alright, there we go. Thanks for stopping by. Get yourself some sleep. And take care of yourself. Bye bye.